Hi guys, welcome in the Facebook studio here in Amsterdam. My name is Levi and today I'm having one of the best DJs in the world in this studio. Armin. 9 questions from big fans of you. They submitted all the questions. Okay. And we should just start with the first question. It's a question from Jana Viljaki.
I think I know her. She's from Kiev.
Oh right, yeah. She's a really very nice girl. She's from Kiev. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I know her personally. Yeah. Armin, if you could do something incredible and crazy, what would you do?
A State of Trance 1000 from the moon.
Really?
That would be crazy.
But there is no. There's no sound there on the moon.
No, just transmit it from the moon.
Oh right.
Take a couple of fans, we dance on the moon, like literally.
Oh really?
You know, like it's that police song, "Walking on the Moon," like that.
You need to shoot your next video clip there.
Yeah, would be great. Are you coming?
Definitely. Do you think, by the way, that the moon landing was a scene or was it real? Real? Yeah.
No. They think I'm an Illuminati now. I read that. There's a couple of people. I cracked myself up. There's, you know, sometimes I do this on my. Apparently, I just do it for fun.
That's the sign.
And people go like, you can easily look it up. I'm sure. There's like these people think that I'm the Illuminati.
You aren't.
Well, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
No.
And you don't think that the moon landing was a Hollywood thing?
No. I mean, with every big thing that happens in the world, there's always this theory that it wasn't real, and you know, they said that about JFK. They said that about, you know, I don't know. Yeah. I just don't know. I think it was real. I think it happened.
Next question from Louis Glenn. What can you tell us about your next artist album and what's the next step in your musical career? It's a good question.
Well, I'm still sort of trying to define the sound, where I'm going. I have some really, really cool stuff already finished. I would say like I'm halfway there. I'm actually working a lot on instrumental tracks right now. It's going to be different again, you know, pushing the boundaries. I'm pretty happy with you know where I am right now, because you know I feel like I'm drifting away a little bit from the whole EDM thing, what's happening right now, and I'm pretty comfortable still doing, you know, trance. But I think it's moving forward, trance music, and I really like the sound of, you know, Orjan Nilsen, Andrew Rayel, Mark Sixma, David Gravel, but still also the classical trance sounds really appealing to me. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. I'm really happy with what I have right now, let's put it that way, but can't tell you too much, can't tell you about the collaboration just because we don't have signed contracts, blah blah blah, but yeah, I mean, Intense did really well, so I've set myself a bar at pretty high, but it's going to be different.
With great collaborations?
Not necessarily collaborations per se. I mean, they need to be finished first, but I think the songs and the instrumental tracks should just rock, you know.
Great to hear. Louis, I hope that's an answer for you. Definitely it's an answer to me. Who is the person that inspires you today to continue making great music? It's a question by Georgia.
Well, first of all, my fans. I mean, I do a weekly radio show, and I get inspired by the enthusiasm for the show and for the music. That's the real answer, you know. That's the most honest answer I can give you. Yes, yeah. Because listening to the new music always inspires me. I couldn't do a State of Trance if the music was not very good, you know. No. So I guess the music is still inspiring, very inspiring. Actually, I would say right now it's at a peak, because I'm having such a hard time to cram all these tunes into 2 hours. Yeah. I remember when I first started my radio show, I had a hard time to find 18 okay tracks to put in the show. And right now, every week, I have about 40 or 50 tracks that I really like and that I really want to play, and I only have room for 25 to 30. So it's always like, you know.
It's an interesting development in, you know, finding, first you couldn't find your music and now you don't have time to play all the music.
Yeah, it's true. I think, you know, there's so much talent and it's so easy to make a track. Of course there's a lot of average music, not so good music, but there's also a lot of really talented people out there, and I'm in a position where, you know, I can give them a spotlight, but it's a big responsibility because I don't want to I'm not against. I mean, I understand the frustration of many producers that, you know, when their track doesn't get played. My track sometimes didn't get played. I was like, oh,
That's annoying.
It's annoying, yeah. So it's a big responsibility. But I always tell myself I need to follow my heart. I need to, you know, of course I listen to my fans, but first and foremost, I have to like the track. I have to feel it. And that's what I've always done with the show. It's funny to say, I've been doing this radio show for 13 years, every week. We're at episode 685 now, approaching episode 700.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of episodes. And still to this day, the formula of the show remains the same. I'm proud to say that. It's still a 2-hour mix every week with the latest in trance and progressive. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's mixed by Armin van Buuren. That's why it's called A State of Trance, not The State of Trance. I'm not saying that the show is perfect, but I think I can guarantee if you listen to the show every week, you get about 80 to 85% of, you know, the tracks that will matter, like in the charts, and that will. Of course, I'm a human being, so I miss a track sometimes. It happens.
It's okay.
But I'm proud to say that, you know, we put so much time and effort into making the show special every week. You know, special releases, world premieres, but also tracks that really rock the dance floor at the moment, exclusive new remixes, and really, I'm also, you know, my painting is my mix, the mix that I do for A State of Trance. So I spend a lot of time in building the set. You know, it's starting off a little bit slow and then have sort of a story within the set every week. And that takes a lot of time every week. Yeah. But it's great to do.
But you help young talent too.
Yeah, I mean, I had help in the beginning. When I started in my career, I had so much help from a lot of other DJs, and I think it's I hope that the new guys that are upcoming now will help other artists as well. And don't forget, a lot of people say you help new artists, but I think it sounds a little bit, I don't know, selfish, because I get credit for it. But before that comes another really important thing. If your track is not very good, I'm not going to play it just because I want to help you.
Recognizing talent.
I only play stuff that I like and I think is good. And I'm not trying to please I mean, of course, if I get a new track by Orion or Andrew or David or Mark Sixma, I will listen to it.
Of course, yeah.
With close attention, but if I don't like it, I don't play it, which is sometimes a really tough decision. Yeah. But I keep stressing that. I get so much credit sometimes for, oh, you really built careers over the years. And I'm proud that people say that to me, of course, but I think if your tracks wouldn't be good, I wouldn't be playing them. No. So you owe it to you know, the compliment goes back to you. Yeah. Like I had an interview the other day at a big Dutch radio station, and people say, oh, you made my career. I said, no, dude, you made your career on your own. You're making excellent music, and if it wasn't me promoting or supporting you, some other guy would have promoted and supported you. So I'm just a lucky guy to be working with all these young guys, because you know what, end of the day, they inspire me as well. Right. They give me new ideas, they give a fresh approach on trance, and they move the sound forward, which is essential for the sound to survive.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, good story. Well, I got 2 more questions, and then we have all the Facebook fan Q&A questions done. Let me see. Yeah, what's your favorite music instrument and why? It's a question by Olaf Smalol.
My favorite music instrument is the synthesizer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What kind of synthesizer? Which one?
I would say the Nord 3.
Yeah?
Yeah, or
it's red, right? The color is red, yeah.
The Nord 3. That's the synthesizer that I used a lot. Yamaha takes 81C. I mean, any synthesizer really, because that's, you know, where dance music came from.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, that's this. I mean, I like electronic music. I'm addicted to electronic music, whether it's, you know, trance or ambient. I listen to a lot of ambient.
Yeah, you told me earlier.
Yeah, I love ambient music. I'm a big fan of, for example, carbon-based life forms, Ott, Robert Henke, actually, Brian Eno, The Orb, Future Sound of London. That's what I listen to, like, constantly. I mean, those guys are just so inspiring to me as a human being. And I just had an interview at the ADE this week with Jean-Michel Jarre, you know, the famous French composer, who was a big inspiration for me. Actually, he made trance before it was called trance, which I think is still, his melodies are still so inspiring and still so great. Klaus Schulze, Tomita, Vangelis.
Yeah. And you use that sound so once in a while.
No, I get inspiration from it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no really beats program, you know, there weren't really beats programmed behind it, but the melodies are still very relevant right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's what those guys did back in the days is just still stunning.
Good to hear. Last question. Out of all songs you made, what's the favorite song you've ever made?
I had that question before, and I find it really hard to answer. It would be like asking if Fenna or Remy would be my favorite son or daughter, you know. What's your favorite child? You can't really say. I mean, I love Fenna, I love Remy, and there's no... all my songs are my children, you know. However, I can say there were a couple of songs that meant a lot for me in my career, that were like sort of stepping stones on my... you know, in the beginning it was Blue Fear. Communication is still, to this day, loved by all my fans, and I still play it a lot, and it meant a lot in my career, because that sort of opened the door for me to the UK, to start playing there and to get gigs, and that was the door to the US and so on and so forth. So, yeah, if looking back at it, I think Communication is probably the most important track, because that sort of set me up you know, in the industry, and I'm still thankful for the fact that that the track wasn't a humongous hit. It did really well. It was top 20 in the UK, and it sold extremely well, but it was not like a #1, which was great because it sort of gave me the comfort of getting to know the music industry,
creating more,
and you know, finding my sound and building. And right now I see these young guys, and all of a sudden they have a #1 in the UK. The problem is, your next track has to be a #1 as well, otherwise you're going down. And I didn't have, when I had my biggest success only recently with This Is What It Feels Like. So it took me 20 years to make a decent record. No, but it was my biggest success so far, and yeah, I mean, I owe a lot to that track, of course, but you know, that track went higher than Communication, of course, and did really well, sold so well all over the world. But it sort of felt like a natural progression. I couldn't have burned myself out. I could have burned myself out if that was the starting track in my career. So yeah, but if you really put a gun to my head, I would say Communication is the most important track in my career.
Thank you. You're welcome. What's the voice in Star Wars? How does it sound like?
Oh, I don't know, young man. I don't know. You have to watch the Disney XD channel. You'll see it.
Thank you. Thank you for being here in the studio, and thank you for watching. See you next time.